What is up, guys? Welcome to part 2 of our Vortech / Fore Innovations fuel system install. If you guys are looking for a how-to video, this is not it. We're just vlogging the process we're doing on my car for shits and giggles. Raul on the ground, confused about what's going on. Looking at YouTube videos. Right now he's feeding the main
Both
feed and return under the car. And then once he gets up here, we have to mount all the bracketry and all these things that I don't know what they're called. That one has like a little gauge on it. You know, we're gonna do that stuff. I don't know what anything is, so I'll let Raul explain it when we get there. This is how I pay my mechanic. Oh shit. We have our catch can here with our one-way valve fuel gauge feeding into the high pressure fuel pump, and then coming back up and feeding into the left side of the rail, coming over, feeding into the right side of the rail, and then we have that line coming back into here, our pressure regulator, and then the regulator feeds back to the back of the tank, and then this hose is the only thing we have left. We have to put the T here onto the bracket for the throttle body, the plate that's sandwiched right in between there, and then that'll be it. So we're gonna do that now. What? You want to see those handy hands? Look at this hand model here. Goes to the fuel pressure regulator here. It is mounted sideways, but ironically, the words are right side up now. As you can tell, I did go ahead and pick up this K&N filter here because our box filter would not fit with the regulator there. So we have that done, and then the last thing I needed to fully assemble the fuel system. So these spacers here are going to allow for these injectors sitting all the way down how they're supposed to. They are hitting the top of the manifold as well as the side of the head because they are a little bit short. Now they do kind of sit in there, but it doesn't feel super secure, and as one side goes down, the other one comes up. Kind of like how the stock injectors are. They're way longer than the 1050Xs on the bottom, so we're gonna pretty much make the 1050Xs mimic the length of these stock ones. So because the fuel rail now feeds from this braided line coming from the gas tank, we can go ahead and delete this fuel rail connector that used to go into the old fuel stock rails. Take this off, and that's pretty much it as far as connections go. Now that that line is off, we can go ahead and connect our evap again into the silver solenoid coming out the back. And then you might be asking yourself, what the heck is this ugly coolant hose? Well, I originally cut this when we were gonna do the Whipple install because that was part of the instructions. Obviously, there's not a Whipple on here, so we never made it that far. I ordered an OEM one, so the OEM one will come through here, and it has a 90-degree, and it'll run from here. That hose was $100, but I mean, it's definitely worth it over having this ugly eyesore here. So to help out with it for now, I did order a cross brace because with the Cobra Jet, I cannot run a cross brace. Obviously with the stock one, I can, and I'm not just gonna run any stock cross brace. I actually have an awesome cross brace, so let's go ahead and unbox it and bring it over here. So here it is. Here's our BMR cross brace. I'm not sponsored by BMR, and I don't know how much of an insult this is, but I do want to cut out this and get a spade or my logo, my company logo, 3D cut, and then put onto here, welded onto here. Yeah, for now we are gonna install it just with the BMR logo on there. Thankfully it does come with hardware, so as you can tell, all new washers and nuts ready for it to go on. So without further ado, let's go ahead and slap this thing on. All right guys, now that our cross brace is on, you could tell I did have to move the coolant reservoir here. I removed this upper bracket and I just bolted its bolt back in there. Gives it enough plate to really sit in there. It's not really gonna go anywhere anyways. And we have like the slightest hair of clearance. As you can tell right there. I mean, it looks like it's touching on video, but it's a small amount of clearance anyways. So I'll probably put some foam or something here or figure this out later. But that's pretty much what our base is gonna look like. I think that looks beautiful. From this angle here, obviously when the bumper's on, it just looks factory. The color is almost spot on as far as factory color goes, just a slight difference. The last thing we need to install for the fuel is actually going to be our relay here. So let's get our relay on. Once our relay on, we'll technically be 100% done. Just a fuel filter at the bottom of the car needs to be installed and we're ready for our first crank. Well, after all that, putting the cross brace on top of the motor, we had to take it off because we had a huge issue with our injectors leaking, our IDX 1050Xs. They were leaking pretty bad. Obviously the kit I got didn't come with these spacers that you can't see, but oh, there you go. So that silver spacer there didn't come with them, so we had to cut them, and we cut them too short. So then we had to go back, and this maybe took us 3 hours to have these injectors on here. I also did flash the tune. So the car is tuned, the injectors are good, our vacuum lines are good. There's a bunch of stuff here. We were using these as spacers to stack on top of the spacers, and that did not work. But technically guys, we should be ready for our first start, which would be awesome if everything goes well. And if it doesn't, I have a fire extinguisher right there, so we are safe if everything catches on fire. But it won't, and we're gonna go ahead and crank this right now. I'm gonna set you guys on the tripod and we're gonna see if this thing starts or if it catches fire. So let's hope for the first part, not the second part. All right, here we go guys. First crank. The fuel rails and everything has fuel in it. I did check for leaks. So technically it should start off right away. If it doesn't, I'm gonna buy a Bugatti, so. I don't know if you can hear me, but we have some smoke coming out. It could be from the fuel that leaked out over here earlier, or it could be new fuel. Something else we have going on is this. I don't think that's normal. All right guys, not sure if you could hear me, but we do have some smoke coming out of here. I'm pretty sure this is burning off the fuel that leaked out from our injectors and kind of got over here because I did let it leak out for a while. It should burn off right away though because it is E85 and it is fuel. So hopefully this smoke goes away on our next start. As far as the gauge goes, I have no idea why it's rocking like this. I'm gonna FaceTime Raul and see what he thinks. So I'm gonna check in with him and then hopefully we'll figure something out. All right, you guys, it is now Monday and we can officially send data logs over to my tuner, which is Lund. The last clip you guys saw was on a Sunday, so we couldn't really do anything because they're not open on Sundays, but today they are. So we're gonna go ahead and reassemble everything on the car, put the bumper back on, make sure everything's tightened down. And technically we do have to take this thing out of here because they do want us to do some hits. Not WAP hits, just a steady climb of RPM. I don't even know why I said hits. But the one concern I have right now is whenever this is on, I'll just show you. You'll see. All right guys, I have some more bad news. Well, not bad news, but bumper is not wanting to sit in. And the reason because of that, or the reason for that, is because the intercooler piping, which is gonna be hard to see, intercooler piping is hitting this bracket back here. So I'm gonna go ahead and trim that ear off down to the bolt. I'll take it off so I can show you guys, but yeah, it's hitting this intercooler piping. All right, so real quick, I cut the bottom of this bracket down, shaved it down so it's even, and then I cut the ear off of this bracket off right there. I had to trim this bracket back because the intercooler piping there was hitting it, but it works now. I might come back and fine tune this because this is pretty ugly. It looks like it's pushing it forward, so that's why it's not able to come all the way back. All right guys, we now have the car off of the lift. It's the first time it's going to be moving under its own power. We are doing a data log right now, so I have to let it idle for 3 minutes, bring the RPM up to 1500 for, I think it was 15 seconds, then 2500, then 3500, and then I'll take it out and I won't do any pulls just yet, but we will be driving it and then sending the data log over to Lund. So I'm going to go ahead and knock that out off camera because it's going to be pretty boring. Timer's up, time to go rev this thing. So I'll check in with you guys here in a second. I do have one more modification to install for this specific, one more mod for this video. Which is gonna be the exact same thing, but in carbon. Totally unnecessary, but it'll make it look cool. So let's slap this on, and I have a bunch of boxes over there. I'm gonna show you guys right after that. Yeah. All right, you guys, here's our old one, and here's our carbon one. Super subtle detail. I think it looks sick. Obviously, we got the carbon here, we got the carbon there. Speaking about carbon, one of those boxes is gonna be our carbon trunk. One of those boxes is gonna be our rear seat delete. And one of those rear boxes is gonna be our CMS half cage. We're replacing the trunk because our last wing left these holes here. And for the price of a new trunk or to fix this, it was gonna be the same as getting a damn carbon trunk. All right, we have our first set of the revised tune. He did tell me to do a 7,500 RPM red line pull with watt. So this will be the first time we see this thing actually open up and do what it's supposed to do. So let's go ahead and take this out. We'll do inside POV and then we'll get some outside shots. Oh, I'm a vlogger. Are you recording right now? Yeah. Eddie. So if you guys want to see those installs, go ahead and subscribe. In the next video, we'll be doing dyno pulls with the Mustang. We'll have our carbon trunk on there, and potentially we'll have our roll cage on there. So go ahead and drop a like for me if you can. Like, subscribe, share, all that stuff. Comment what was your favorite part. Am I a shitty mechanic? I already know, but comment that down below. So we'll see you on the next one.